Do you want to live a rich life? And what does a rich life mean to you? You can create time, money, freedom. It is completely possible. And Ramit Sethi's book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, is a great place to start if you are ready to dive into financial education and to create that beautiful life that you want to live. I hope this book is helpful. This is one of the greatest books for getting started, mastering your debt, figuring out bank accounts, figuring out investing, figuring out how to actually be a conscious spender. And I really hope it helps. I put all the most important information. It's a super thick book. You're welcome to get it. I'll link it below on Amazon, but I hope that this video helps. Let's dive in. I'm a teacher who's changed my financial life, and we have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars and we'll be millionaires soon. So I hope it helps. All of these financial education books have helped me, and I want to pay it forward and help you too. And if you want more videos on mastering your money, your habits, your mindset, and your emotions along the way to become the person you're born to be and to live a happy and healthy life, feel free to click subscribe.
All right, so the first thing Ramit talks about is a rich life. Okay, so what does that mean to you? Now, you're here for personal finance, so you might think money. Okay, but money is simply a tool. So what can that money buy you to create that rich life that we want? And so for me, like a rich life might be having time. Okay, time with my family, time to exercise, time for my health, time to do projects I enjoy or spend time with people that I love, have time for adequate rest. So time for anything that brings you that joy and that peace. You might want freedom. Okay, we want the opportunity to choose, to decide what we want and what we want to be in this world. Like instead, oh, well, I have to go to this job for 10 hours with commuting and etc. Or I have to do X, Y, Z, okay? The goal is to have potentially freedom for the rich life. Maybe your ideal rich life is doing some type of service. Maybe it's spending time with your family. Maybe it's taking care of some of your health. Like whatever, for me, it's very simple like this: service, family, health, and I'm good. And so to design my rich life, I need to figure out what do I need to do here so that I can get this result, or AKA time for the service, family, and health. And so we don't have to just be a millionaire or have $150 million. Maybe that's part of your rich life, but maybe just having a little bit more money or $10,000 extra dollars or something a month can help you to design your rich life. So it's your goal to figure out what is your rich life. What does that mean to you? And it's going to be different for everyone. And my goal is for you to find yours and then figure out what habits, actions, and choices you need to make and what path you need to choose and design to get your rich life. Let's do it together. Mastering money comes down to two things: how much money is coming in and how much is going out. Okay? You can increase this by as much as you want. It's unlimited. You can technically earn as much as you want. Okay? So you can control your inputs. The outputs, so how much you spend, is a little bit harder. Like if I make $100,000, that's what comes in. We bring that in. I can only work with that $100,000. If I bring in $50,000, I can only work with that $50,000. Okay? It doesn't work the opposite. So we need to focus on how can we get more here on the input so that we can do more with the output. Like I can only cut a certain amount. If I am only making $2,000 a month and I have to pay $1,500 for my place and I have $250 for groceries and this is already a very off sheet. Look, I can only cut so much. So if I would have had more coming in, I have more wiggle room and more ability to do more with. But I want you to focus on, we can focus on cutting our spending first. But once you cut, you really just have to work on the in. What are you bringing in? Because we can only cut so much. And I've been there. It is not fun. Why? It's so sad to just cut. Okay. You want to look at it. You want to be aware of how much is coming in and out and what you're doing with it. But at the end of the day, it's about what's coming in and how can you increase that. All right. Credit cards. How many of you have a credit card, debit card, use it? Okay. Some people are pro credit card. Some people are not so pro about it, but a lot of people have them. I'm going to teach you the 6 commandments on what you need to do to have a good credit score, because this will help you to be able to purchase homes and have more freedom, etc. So the best thing you can do is pay off your card regularly. Okay, this is amazing. So your credit card payment history represents 35% of your credit score. Okay, 35%. So this is the biggest chunk and the most important thing you can do. So every single month, you need to pay it off completely. So if it is $200, you pay the $200. If it's $400, pay the $400. If it's $30, you pay the $30. The next thing that's important to do is get your fees waived. So what you're going to do is you're going to call, there's a phone number on the back of your card, okay? And you want to ask, hey, can you waive these fees, okay? And if they can, great. See if there's a way around the fee. Is there a way around it? Or also look for another company. There are other companies that waive fees. You don't have to pay fees. Like, why would you need to pay fees? It doesn't make sense. And credit cards, it's a huge business and they make so much money off of people who don't pay off their cards regularly, etc. So this is a key thing to do. Ask to get your fees waived and it will help you a lot. Okay, this is a bonus tip. Hopefully you're going to be paying off your credit card regularly, but if you can negotiate a lower APR, which is your annual percentage rate, okay, an annual percentage rate, you want it lowered, then you are going to save a lot of money as well. If they ask why, you can say that you've been paying it off regularly and that you'd like that to be lowered. Typically, it's about 13% to 16% if you don't pay off your credit card on time, which is huge. In the stock market, the S&P 500 is 8 to 10% over time. And so you can make millions of dollars in the stock market with this return. Imagine how much they are making here based on people not paying their credit cards off on time. So you could ask about this. I would just focus on this one. If I were you, just pay it off. Use your debit card if you can. Pay it off a little bit with your credit card and you'll be good, but just letting you know about this. Another great way to improve your credit score is to keep your card. Okay, so if you keep your card for 5 years or 10 years, etc., the longer you keep it, the better history you have and proof of, hey, I pay my bills on time. Like I've been doing this, 15, 20 years with a credit card and paying it off on time. And so if I pay it off regularly, every single month for 5 years, that's impressive. 10 years, that's even more impressive. 15. And if I can do this, lenders are more likely to loan more money, right? Like if I can't even pay off my card for 1 year, why? That's a big red flag, a big X, okay? And so making sure you pay your card off on time, but keeping it for longer is helpful. Okay, let's add on here. So 2 more. So another thing you can do is get more credit. If you are in a lot of debt, do not do this, okay? If you have a lot of debt and you have a problem with that, don't do this. But say, this is for your credit utilization. Say you have a $5,000 limit, right? And you typically only use no more than $1,000. That's amazing. And the credit lenders love that. If you have $5,000 available and you consistently use the $5,000, that is a big red flag. And credit utilization is about 30% of your credit score. And they want to see you use a smaller percentage. Okay? So like here, if I had the 5,000 to 1,000, I'm only using 20%. Here, I'm using 100%, and lenders don't like that. So if you want, you can increase it, but don't just increase it to spend the same amount. Increase it so that you can lower that percentage rate. All right, and lastly, another great thing you can do is get the secret perks, okay? If you are responsible, you'll be rewarded, okay? And so you don't have to do the points game, but if you get a certain amount of points, if you're gonna spend the $10,000 anyways, and you need to spend $10,000 to earn XYZ reward, why not sign up, okay? Take a look at everything and make sure it looks good to you and all the fine print. But if you can spend the $10,000 and get a free flight, why not do it? And so take advantage of the secret perks. The goal here is to use or take advantage of the opportunity, okay? We don't want to be used. We want to use it, right? It feels weird saying that, but you do. You want to take advantage. Just like with making money, like it's a game. There's a system. And if we learn it, we can get in it and actually be a winner of it. Otherwise, if we don't learn it, we don't understand that it is a game, we're going to be used by it. Okay? So you want to be on offense and in control instead of it all raining down on you. Sad. All right, while we're talking about cards, please learn your debt. Ramit talks about this, that a lot of Americans don't know how much they owe. Okay? I know it can be scary, but please, how much debt do you have in loans? Whether it's student loans, it's your car loans, car number 1, car number 2, your house. Like, look at it, okay? You need to know, am I 100K in debt? Am I $0? Woohoo, that'd be awesome. Am I in 20K? Like, what is your debt? Because if you're too scared to look, you're never going to get rid of it. It's just going to always be there. And so many people, and that might be you, you're living your life and buying what you want in your Starbucks and acting like everything's normal, but you have this big dark cloud should be looming over you here, okay? So learn it. Just like anything I teach in life is self-awareness. This is your money and debt awareness. You can't do anything about it if you don't know or if you're not paying attention. So it can be uncomfortable. It's not fun. I talk about handling those emotions and how you think about things, but you got to understand your number. So learn your number. How much debt do you have so you can tackle it? Also, please pay off your debt and do more. This Dumb Dan is what he calls him, pays $100 the minimum payment for his $5,000 of credit card debt. Okay, that's going to take 25 years to pay it off, and he's going to pay over $6,000 in interest. Here, Smart Sally pays a fixed amount, $100. Okay, it takes 6 years and 4 months to pay off, about $2,000. Super Smart Sally pays double the fixed amount, which is $200, and it takes only 2 years and less than $1,000. So you want to make sure that you're not just randomly paying the minimum amount, okay? And not just a fixed amount even. You really want to pick double and try to pay it off aggressively. The more aggressive you are with your debt, the faster it's going to be gone. And so even though you want to go on vacations and do these fun things, you got to just go and tackle it fast. If you're trying to figure out what to pay off, you want to prioritize your debt. Okay, and so what you want to do, there's the Snowball method, and there's the Avalanche method. Okay, so what does this do? The Snowball method right here, you are going to pay the smallest debt first. Okay, so if we have a debt to our grandma of $100, that's the smallest one. We're going to pay that first. If we then have $1,000 in one credit card, we have maybe $5,000 in another credit card, we have $15,000 of student loans, and then we have a $20,000 car loan, we are going to start here. It helps build momentum, and the small wins can help some people feel better. So the Snowball method is the smallest debt first, and you work your way up to here. Now, there's an Avalanche method, okay, which is a little bit different. And what you're going to do is the greatest interest rates, okay? And so if you maybe owe $100 to your grandma, but she's not going to charge you anything in interest, maybe it's worth waiting and putting that $100 to something like a credit card that had 18% against you. So you're trying to knock that out first. Or if there was another debt that maybe had 25% against you, this other credit card, you're going to try to pay this one off first, because this percent is going to kill you. And so you want to start with the highest percent first. That can work for some people. You could still, if you really want to do the Snowball method, that's fine too. But the Avalanche can really help save you some money in the long run. It's kind of about psychology. And if you haven't read The Psychology of Money, I highly recommend that. And I'm going to be talking about more of your mindset and psychology on the channel. I studied that with my undergraduate degree. But this can help you get those small wins and momentum and feel good. But this is going to save you with the highest percentages first. All right, I'm going to bring the book in. So Ramit talks about what bank to use, and he has these that you can consider: Ally, Capital One 360, Schwab, Marcus by Goldman Sachs, American Express Personal Savings, etc. for your checking and saving. The banks to avoid are Bank of America and Wells Fargo. He says to be careful of the big banks and just to be mindful. You don't have to obsess about it, but you really want to avoid these fees and all these extra things. So these are some that you can consider and choose from. Okay, so everyone needs to have a checking account. Okay, then we want to have our savings account. And then we also want to have a high yield savings. So I'm a huge advocate for investing and things of that nature, but you do need to have these basics down. We have our checking, savings, and high yield savings. And so at some point, the high yield savings can get you 4.5 to 5.5%. It depends. And so that's the interest you can have just by having a good savings. And this is a great spot for something like if you're saving for maybe a down payment and you don't want your money in the stock market, but you also don't want it losing that 2 to 3% to inflation. You have that 4 to 5% that you're earning, and your money is in there, it's safe, and it's out of the way. And hopefully you aren't really looking at it and it just is growing and gaining that percentage. The checking account is where a lot of your money is going to go into. Some people argue to have multiple accounts. I know I learned about the 7 bank accounts. We had opened a few, like I had one for a travel account. And so we would put money in here for trips. And so we would try to save a certain amount of money, and then we had it and we didn't touch it. It was just for building up our travel. So you could use other accounts or checking for certain goals that you have and starting to put some money away there. I wouldn't do too much money because we want a lot of our money to work for us, but this is a helpful step. Especially this book is really just getting you started. And so these were really helpful things for getting myself and my husband started. So the checking account, if you're married, you can do it together. You could also do this for yourselves. So partner one and then partner two, and you both have access, and you delegate what you pay. It's totally up to you and how you want to do things. But the checking account's usually where your money's going to go in. You might have savings. You don't want to put, this is the mistake. I put like 20,000, I had 80,000, and I had like 100-something thousand in just the savings account. If you have this much money, you want to be investing it in assets, and I have tons of other videos on that, or into yourself and a business or more skills, etc. And so here, the savings account, what you really want that to be is like a buffer. And so maybe like $1,000. High yield savings are great for like an emergency savings. We have a family emergency savings, which can be 3 to 6 months of living expenses, or even 12 months if you want to be extra safe. And so you can put that in the emergency. It doesn't have to be a down payment. You can put 1,000, 5,000, whatever you think is safe that isn't taking away from your money growing. So it's totally up to you. Some people go for the less. Some people do want to have 50,000 or more. It's up to you, but you want to have these 3 accounts at least. Okay, the next part is investing. And Ramit talks about different parts and stages to get you set up. We have getting rid of our debt, then we have the credit cards, and now investing. And so it's really important to invest. He's going to start talking with a 401k, which is a type of investment account, typically with an employer. And so there's tax advantages and things you can use if you do this. You can also get free money through an employer match. And so we will talk about that as well. The biggest thing he says is that people aren't using it or taking advantage of it, right? And we talked about taking advantage of the opportunities given for anything, for our wealth, for our happiness, for health. We need to take advantage of these things. So people under the age of 25, typically the median, they have $1,325 in their account. 25 to 34, they have about $8,192. 35 to 44 is about $23,491. And 45 to 54, the average is $43,467. Can you retire? You're 54, 55. Some people don't retire till 60s, 70s. But can you retire with that? No. And so it is a great account that you can use, and I'll teach you how, but you got to be intentional and don't just set it up with your account and just go for it. Like when I was 22, I set up a 401k. They automatically do typically when I got my first job as a software engineer. Okay. So this is great, but I didn't seriously start investing until later and pouring more money into it. But we really want to have assets. You want to be an owner and you want to be an investor. I have lots more videos on this, but we really want to get set up smartly with our investing if we want to have more than just $43,000 at the age of 54. Investing is one of the best ways and easiest to make your money grow. Okay. And so it's something we want to do. Even if you start, you make $250,000 a year and you're able to invest. What if you invest $50K a year? Like that's going to bring you millions and millions of dollars. Okay. If you maybe just have $500 a month to invest, if you invest right, you actually can be a millionaire in 30 years. Okay. And so it doesn't necessarily take the 250K. It could just take the 500 or even the 200 with a long enough time horizon will get you there, but your money compounds. So you will put in about this much money, and as you go along, it'll be a little bit greater, but then your returns, it'll grow in interest. It'll be about the same, and then it just shoots up and you're going to gain all this extra money just because you invested it. It compounds and multiplies and grows. And so if you aren't taking advantage of investing, you are losing so much money and you're not going to see the results. You're going to see some in 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20. You're going to see some, but it really takes till the 30, the 40, the 50 years to see the multiple millions. Like even if you invest $5,000 a month, like I know for a lot of you that might seem like a lot of money, but you'll have hundreds of millions of dollars if you invested that. If you didn't invest in that, you would have maybe like $1 to $3 million, okay, instead of the hundreds of millions. It is insane. So please invest, and let's go ahead and learn a little bit more. Okay, so with the 401k, you can invest in the 401k. All right, there's other accounts, there's Roth IRAs. Okay, there's HSAs, health savings accounts. The Roth IRAs are awesome because it's a double tax advantaged account. Okay, it's double tax advantage. So you pay tax initially, but then you never pay tax again. So this is awesome. And HSAs come straight out of your paycheck. So you actually never pay money or taxes, at all. And usually it's for health savings, but it can be used for retirement. The 401k, they have others like a Roth 401k, which is similar to the Roth IRA, where you are taxed right away and then it grows tax-free. Because your money growing tax-free, you can get charged with the capital gains and you can lose money through taxes. So minimizing taxes is super, super important. But basically think of these as like a file folder. So if you're buying an investment, you're buying it within here. So if you want the S&P 500, which is a stock you can get, or VOO, you can buy it within these accounts. Okay, so these are just the file folders telling you how the taxes work behind it, or where you can get it. Like with a 401k, you can only get it through an employer. And something important to do is, say you invest, your company says, hey, you need to invest 5% of your paycheck. Okay, do that, because that's going to help you. But guess what? If you do that, a lot of times they'll say, we will match it and we'll give you either 3% or we'll give you another 5%. So if that was $5,000 that you had to invest each year, your company is going to give you an extra $5,000 every year. So if you make $80,000, but then you contribute $5,000 like they asked, that max, you're basically making $85,000 because they're going to give you that extra 5, and it's invested. So it's going to be worth way more than that eventually. So look and find these accounts. I could pop like a picture on the screen of the different accounts that you can consider, but investing your money is so, so crucial. And there's a lot of things that people do to try to help you. People would say the world's against me and the world is over, but like your employer is trying to help you to invest because they want you to have the money, or you get tax advantages for knowing what to do. So you have to know what to do in order to do it, right? So this is super crucial. 2 rules. You want to invest your money, okay? And you want to invest it early and often. So if we're investing, if we start investing at 10 years old or 12 years old when I started babysitting, okay, and I had businesses and stuff, if I would have invested that money, even if it was $100 a month or $200 a month, if I lived till I'm 90 years old, that is almost 80 years of compounding. That is insane. I could try to show you on the screen. It doesn't even show me more than 80 years on a compound interest calculator, but with 50 years, and you're only 50 years old and you have millions of dollars. That's why a lot of people talk about starting and making their kids millionaires if they invest when they are 0. They start with $0, but then they start investing for them a couple $100s a month or something when they're 1 year old, and they keep investing, and then their kids will become millionaires. So some parents want to do that. I always say take care of you first, because if you're taking care of your kids, probably will be as well. But you want to invest your money and invest it early and often. The earlier you start, the better it is. So I know I beat myself up. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm 26 and I've been missing out on all these years, like 22 since the workforce, but I've been making money since earlier than 12, but consistently, and actually having a real job since I was 12. And that's how many years that I've been missing out on? Oh no. But still, starting here is better than starting here. And then if you're here, starting here is better than starting here. So just wherever you are, the best time to plant a tree was that 20 years ago, but the second best time is right now. So you want to invest your money, but you want to do it as early and often as possible. When you invest, one of the best things you can do is automate things. So make it an automatic investing, have an automatic investing strategy. So what that means is if you decide, hey, I'm going to invest in this 401k, I'm going to do up to the match, I'm also going to max out my Roth IRA, cool. So how much money would I need to do for that 12 months? How much would I need to invest each month? Okay. And so like with a Roth IRA, it can be like $550 a month. Instead of just paying it every single month like a bill, you want to automate it and set it up and just automatically take that money out from your paycheck and plop it right in. I know even with my 401k, I can put the percentage, like I want to take 40% of my paycheck and just automatically put it into my 401k. And so that's automatically going to take care of the match as well, but it's automated. So the more you can automate things, do this with your bills, do this with anything in your life, but make it easy on you. You don't want to make sure you're checking every single month. You just want to have it done. Set it up one time, decide your number, and you're good. And then if you want to ever decrease it to 10%, you want to increase it to 20%, whatever, you can. But automatic investing is a gift. Okay, one thing I want to make sure you know, with the 401k, you need to make sure that you're not going to need the money until you're 59 and a half. So this is really a retirement strategy or a later on in life strategy. And so you could get excited and be like, yeah, I'm going to give $500 a month. Let's go. And you have not bought a house yet. You haven't taken care of other goals or your education. And then you're like, oh crap, I actually need this money back. Can I have it back? You kind of can, but there's going to be a lot of penalties if you're not 59 and a half. So really be intentional, really look at your numbers and make sure however much you put in, whatever you're contributing, whether it's 200, 100, however, 1,000, whatever you're contributing, make sure that you're not going to need it again. Okay. If you're going to need it again, like for a down payment or for a trip or something like that, you are going to want to put it in something like that high yield savings account. But when you get to the investing, that can be a little bit tricky and you have these restrictions. So that's important to look at too. Check it out. Okay, I'm a huge fan of Roth IRAs, and if you're not going to do a business or anything like that, you just want to really maximize your money, this is a great thing to do, even if you have a business too. But look at the Roth IRA. When you go ahead and put it in, we have 31,000 or so, 29,000 here, 78,000, 69, 146, 123. And as you go along, at the end of 30 years, 611,000 to 419,000. If you would have put it in a Roth IRA instead of just a regular taxable investment account, you are saving like $200,000. That's insane. And so taxes will eat up a lot of your earnings. Of course, $419,000 is better than nothing, but using the Roth and paying your taxes later can be essential. It's actually not that hard to open a Roth IRA, and there's other accounts too. Currently, as of 2025, you can invest up to $7,000. And I know that might not seem like a lot, but if you just invest the $7,000 every single year for 30 years, you're going to have at least $1 million or more if you invest in something with an average return of 10%, like the S&P 500. So don't sleep on this. Honestly, this is a great piece of homework to do that's going to help you. You can never go back. So if you don't invest in 2025 into this, but then you're in 2026 and you max it out here and you're like, oh, can I go back? I have enough money. Can I invest in my old accounts? you cannot do that. So the best time to start is right now. This is a great place to start investing your money if you have extra money, unless you're trying to invest in yourself, right? Like in skills, your education, a business, like that can be more important. So if you are sacrificing and just investing in the stock market and not investing in being able to produce more money, like we talked about at first, you want to try to increase what's coming in, then I would maybe pause, because this is going to matter more in the long run, but it's up to you. Another beautiful account is an HSA, a health savings account. Okay, you do need a high deductible insurance plan, okay, which some people don't like to do, but there are benefits. An HSA, I can pop the amount on the screen. I think it's about $5,000 you can contribute every single year. But the cool thing is it does have to go to medical expenses. It can even be like for glasses or things. But if you don't spend the money on this, your money, that $5,000 will be invested and it will grow. And you can keep doing this every single year, and it just grows and grows and grows, and it's not taxed, right? So instead of paying out of your pocket for something, even if you do have to use it, you have $5,000. Instead of that, a lot of times you're paying like $6,000 because you already paid money in taxes, right? So if you had $6,000 and then your employer took some of that money, you have $5,000, and then you have to go pay for medical expenses of $1,000, you're left with $4,000. But if you started with the 6 and automatically put some of that money into the HSA, you are saving money because you're not taxed on it initially. And if you use it, that's great. You're saving that money for the medical expenses without having to pay tax on it, or you can just let it grow over time. And if you get to a certain age, you can use it for other things, or when you get older and you're going to have more medical bills, you can use it for that. This is a good option if you have already done like the 401k option, if you've done the match here, if you've done the Roth IRA. If you're married, you can open another Roth IRA for your spouse. Your spouse can do it. This is what my husband and I have. Then you can go back to an HSA and top off that money there. You can actually put a lot of money into your 401k, so that is something to look at. And your spouse can do the same as well if they have a job like that and do the match. And so that's what my husband and I really focused on. And then you could also, though, be mindful, like these accounts are awesome, but if you are trying to earn more skills, if you're trying to increase your education, your earning power, or invest in a business or something, do not just go here. This could be a good foundation. Like we created our foundation and then we started doing more of this, but this will make you more money in the long run. And so just be mindful not to only think of these. There's other options as well to make more money. All right, the next part of this is conscious spending. Okay, so we have everything set up. We have our investments. We got our debt taken care of. This would be important for me before the debt, but we all just start living life and get in a situation that happens. But you don't have to be cheap. You can be conscious. Okay, and so I definitely have fallen in the category of cheap before, or not being as generous and being more fear-based. Okay. Or not looking at the value behind some of these things. It did help me get to a certain point, but we want to move more towards this conscious spending, okay? And being aware and being willing to spend the money where we want to. We talked about that rich life. And so if we're conscious and we're like, oh, wow, I'm spending $500 a month on groceries. Okay, it's really healthy food, lots of whole foods. I'm okay with that, right? But then we see, oh my gosh, I'm spending $200 on this random subscription that I don't even use, or we're going to the movies and I hate going to the movies. Why am I doing that? And so I can remove that and take that $200 and be conscious or intentional, I like to say, but being aware, and put it somewhere else. We could put that into our Roth IRA and invest, and we will have millions of dollars in 50 years. Okay? And so it's really just being more conscious. Some people are so scared or worried to look at their bank account or their money, and we want to be conscious. We want to know so that we can do more with it, right? A lot of times you might have $2,000 and you're just randomly spending and you're not conscious or intentional, and then it's all gone. But if we were more intentional and we're like, okay, this is going to go here, this $100 goes here, and this $500 is automatically invested here, and this is going to something super fun that I love to do here, you're being more conscious and wise. So just moving from the conscious spending. You don't have to be cheap. You don't have to never spend money. And no, we can't do this. We can't do this. Maybe you say no for a short period of time, like a year, or you work really hard to get out of that debt. And then you can say yes for a lot longer. So it's up to you. But conscientiousness is a gift that you can give yourself in every aspect of life. The main goal is to spend on what you love. Okay, we can't always get everything we want yet. Okay, one day you're going to build that wealth and get there. But the cheap people, they just care about the money or the cost. They always try to get the lowest price. Okay, they impact others. And so they're trying to be so cheap and it affects their kids, or like if you're not willing to buy shoes, and then you end up having an issue with your hips. I do think this kind of impacted me. Not buying new shoes impacted other parts of my health and body. And so you want to be frugal and intentional, but it's more about the value. You want to think, how do you impact other people that are close to you? You really just want to do more, and it could make other people feel uncomfortable, but it's because they realize they can be doing more, where it's like, oh, wow, they sacrificed, but they still get to have a little bit of fun. Oh my gosh, like they sacrificed here, but they get to do this. They seem really happy. They have more money. Now they have more freedom and time. Whoa, wait, I can do that? Let me learn about this. This doesn't seem so restrictive. If you're over here, people are gonna be like, I don't want to live like that. Cool, you have $1 million, but you're miserable and sad and never spend money. Like, a lot of people are gonna be like, get me away from this. Why would people want to be better with money? This kind of allows more of that freedom and peace, and something people might want to move more towards. It's important to know your buckets. So if you have retirement goals, you want to figure out like what percentage of your income you want to put there, whether it's 10%, whether you want 20%, whatever it is. Whether you have long-term savings for something that you want, like a big trip or something, how much of your money do you want to go there? Determine the amount. Maybe you have the short-term savings, or like for those emergency savings, you have some percentage of your money there. And then you do have some fun money too. So where are you going to put that? Sorry, not just $10, 10%. This would be the cheap side most likely. So really getting clear, and then expecting things like I talked about. Hey, and we went through a phase where we wanted to have money for a certain travel. And so investing a percentage or an amount for travel, and knowing, hey, wait, we have a lot of gifts. I have a lot of kids, and I have family members and this and that. So, okay, we need to put money in an account for gifts, whether it's 5%, whether you want to always have $500, whatever it is, okay? And then knowing what's the fun money. What do you want to spend your money on? Is it something specific? Do you like going to work out? You want to spend on gym clothes? Do you want to get new gym clothes? Do you want to buy new books? Do you want to invest in some new skill or knowledge? Like, where do you want to put your money? In getting clear. And like even here, retirement, okay? What are we putting in the 401k? Do we have the match? Are we going to go the HSA route? Do we have the Roth IRA? Are you doing your Roth IRA to your spouse? And really knowing, oh, we have the house goals. The more intentional you are, and the more you know your plan, the more likely it will actually come true. The other part of this is helping you to get big purchases. So if you're wanting to buy a house, it's like, how the heck do I afford this? Okay, $300,000 if you're trying to get a townhouse, or maybe your house costs that much. I know this is a big debate and a big point of contention right now, but if it's $300,000 and you want to buy a house in 5 years, you will need to save at least $1,000 a month for that 20% down payment. And so the more time you have, like if you had 10 years, that's $500 a month. You can ramp this up by choosing to cut costs. You can live with roommates or family. All right, that can really help obviously get more money, but it's important to just be intentional. Hey, we want to buy a house. Okay, how much money does it take? What is our budget? Okay, and then creating a plan so that you can actually get the money. A lot of conscious spending and being good with money is being aware, knowing your goals, and then creating a plan to get there. Please remember to ask yourself where you want to spend. Okay? What is your rich life? Where do you want your money? Do you want it to go for the gym or athletics for your kids and health? Do you want like healthy food? Do you want it for travel and adventure? Are you putting it towards education? And that's a whole nother one. You can set up accounts for your kids' education or for yourself. Do you want it for service or giving? Okay, giving back, whether it's at church or just in the community. All right, do you want it to learn new skills? Do we want it because we have pets? Do we want it for housing? Do we want it for the things we want to do? Okay, so where do we want to spend? Getting very, very clear. And if these are our priorities, right, then we want to make sure we are ruthless with cutting in the other areas so that we have more for the areas that we truly care about. Remember to save while sleeping. People talk about making money while you sleep, which you can absolutely do that, but saving while sleeping is important. And so if we know we have a Roth IRA and we want to put the $550 a month, remember to automate these investments. So you're going to set it up and you're going to make sure this is a reoccurring payment. So we know we have our Roth IRA. Cool. This is going in each month. We're good here. Hey, my paycheck in my checking account is going to come here. I'm going to get $4,000 each month or whatever. And then from here, it will distribute into some of these other things. Maybe you put it into your savings account. You put like $200 here. Maybe you have that travel account. You're saving for travel. And you're going to put $250 each month, or you're saving up for gifts or something. Instead of waiting at Christmas and just spending what you have like a Christmas spending savings bucket, and you'll put a little bit of money in it every month so that you end up having, a couple $1,000s at the end of the year. That's an option you can do. We have our HSA. Maybe you decide to open the HSA. That comes straight even before the checking. That just comes out of your paycheck at work, goes straight there. And maybe you do $150 a month. Okay. And so the more you can automate it and know where are things going, what do I have here, is going to be better for you. Another thing that can be super helpful is to get organized. Okay, so we organized everything. We figured out our debt. We figured out our accounts. We figured out investments. Okay, we figured out banking. We figured out how to be good at spending. Okay, but you want to make a nice list. I know you can type this up. You can do whatever. My husband and I even just wrote and I put like the name of the account owner, who's the owner, the usernames, the passwords, okay? Making a list, how much money is being contributed. And maybe I'll make like a free resource. I don't know, would that be helpful? Comment below, of a sample list. And you just have it there. And you either have a document, put it in like a Firebox, or you have it electronically, and then you can update it and send it to your spouse, and you have a whole list. Like, it was so exciting when we had a list of everything we're invested in and what we're doing. Very, very empowering. So the more you have it organized and written down, the better. You can also make sure, if you are married, and it's under both of your names, or if one person has to be first, like if it is me that's first, I'm definitely going to make sure that my husband has complete 100% access and is linked, and that we're shared partners on it. I know some people, or even my grandparents, had that issue where it was just like my grandparents' name, my grandpa's name, and my grandma had a hard time getting access when he died, even though they were married for many, many years. So organization is awesome and will help you in every aspect of your life. Ramit also talks about you might not need an advisor. Okay, maybe you want one to get started, but really average is good. So if you get a 10% return, you learn about the S&P 500 and you just automate your investments and you set it up, you're good. You don't necessarily need that. And so financial expertise, he has a whole chapter on like this financial expertise is kind of funny to him. And so really, if you just learn the basics, you keep it simple or average, it's going to give you millions and millions. And I have more strategies, like I said, if you want to make millions sooner, etc. I have tons of videos on my page about that. Ramit also talks about asset allocation and being diversified. There's stocks, there's bonds, and as you get older, you're going to want to have less stocks because it's riskier and your money, you don't have as much time on your side. And so you can allocate it differently. We can talk more about this if you're interested, but it's something to consider to balance out your portfolio a little bit, but it doesn't have to be complicated. If you want a good option for this, Ramit talks about a target date index funds. So these are fairly new, so we don't have a ton of information on their performance over time or a long period of time, but it has a good asset allocation, right, depending on your age. So it'll put how much is in stocks versus bonds based on your age. So say you're going to retire in 2058, it'll create a portfolio that matches that balances it out. So that's totally up to you. If you just want to start doing like the S&P 500 or international stocks or something like that, and you don't want to worry about this, that's fine. But this is kind of a nice happy medium that a lot of people use. They just go to the target date and it balances it out nicely for you. Once you have a lot of this set up, and I have more videos on this that I can dive deeper if you're interested, but get honest with yourself. Okay, like, what do you really want? Why do you want more? How much is really necessary? I talk about this. I know I talk about the millionaire thing on my channel, but I'm like, I'm actually pretty freaking happy with where we are right now. Like, why are we working on this, or why do we work on this? Maybe that is the level of impact you want and the value you want to create in the world. And you have all these ideas of the people you want to help on this continent and the people in your community and just everything that you need. But like, what do you really need? You know? And want, and he doing like the inner work too. Ramit doesn't totally talk about this, but he does on his YouTube channel. And I talk about this, like healing the heart, because a lot of people get all this money and they're just spend, and they're not conscious, and they're like so miserable, and they're not healthy, they're not happy, right? And so money can be a huge source of problems, but if you also don't do the work on you, once you get money, you could still have a lot of problems. So it's really important to do that work. Okay, and think critically. Now, I know our frontal lobes don't form till we're in our mid to late 20s, but like if we're getting married and you're young, you're 25, do you really want to spend the $25,000 on a wedding? One day. Maybe you do. Do you really want to spend $7,000 on a ring? Maybe you do. Okay? Maybe you'd rather do this and kind of nix this and get married and live your life, or use this as a down payment or towards your down payment or paying off debt, right? So just think critically about the choices that you're making in your life, and you don't want to be ruled by money and just let it master you. And it doesn't mean you can't do the wedding or you should feel guilty or bad. Oh, like I could have this for my down payment, but I really want this wedding. If you want it, remember, it's your rich life. And so what is that rich life to you, right? And so just thinking critically about the choices you make and deciding what you do want to invest in and what you don't want to invest in can make a huge difference.
You can create whatever rich life you want. You don't have to settle for what you're living now. You don't have to just put your head in the sand. You can play on offense, you can take ownership, and you can create a life you love. I hope this video helped. If you're interested in more videos, feel free to check out this video on 6 books that are making me a millionaire or 10 habits making me a young millionaire. You got this.